A good friend of mine asked me, Shankar, should I move or should I stay? I'm very nervous about the move. What is your advice? And I think I do have a few ideas about that topic because, quite frankly, if you think about it, each time I moved, I unlocked the next level in my life, right? Because there's really a few times where, for me, there was a big move. First time was when I decided to go to boarding school, of course, as a teenager. Then I decided to go to police academy. And then, big move, I decided to immigrate to the United States. I first went to Oxford, Ohio, where I got a degree in interactive media. Then I moved to Chicago, and then I moved to San Antonio, which is where my home base is. But essentially, now the world is my home. Each time I moved, though, the next level was unlocked in terms of what I would achieve in my life working towards my dream, which really can be summarized in 3 words: wealth, health, freedom. These aspects always improved for me specifically because I was willing to move. If you think about it, moving has a few very powerful advantages, and I want to speak through those for a moment so that maybe if you're in a similar situation, you can take my experience and apply it to yours. First of all, when you move, you get into a completely new energetic field, which is very important because very often we are stuck in life because we just are anchored in these things that are location specific. People that hold us back, jobs that hold us back, circumstances that hold us back. And when you decide to just get the F out, right, and place yourself in a new environment, then all of these very strong vibrational energies immediately shift. And that is something that is very powerful, because sometimes when we try to just do it out of sheer willpower, we just can't. The circumstances, our environment, is something that is very powerful. So I would say that is the first element that really is a huge advantage. The fact that you break free from those circumstantial elements that hold you back. And then, of course, when you get to the new place, something else kicks in, which is almost the inverse of that, and that is you inevitably have to meet new people, learn about new ideas, learn about new circumstances. And believe it or not, each time you put a new element into your life, you unlock new possibilities, new knowledge. And of course, you can imagine when I moved from Luxembourg to the United States, that was a huge unlock for me. A huge unlock. Also, when I moved from being employed by the Luxembourg government to being a student in the US, huge unlock. And I got to know people that I would otherwise never have met. Then my next move that was really big was the move to San Antonio, where I started my business, which turned into a 7-figure business, by the way. And I would say that move specifically put me into my bubble of productivity. My bubble of productivity where there were no distractions, I had great infrastructure, I had the weather I wanted, I had the mindset I wanted around me, and I just got going, right? And built that 7-figure business. As you may know, one thing about me is that I travel for mentorship. And one of those locations, it's been a tradition now. Every December, Andrea and I, we go to Bali to a retreat. And each time I go there, because the vibrations are so strong there, something very powerful unlocks for me. So last time when I was in Bali, I actually met a doctor who was able to heal me from 20 years of back pain. Then that specific doctor said, listen, if you want to learn how to maintain yourself and also heal others, I will actually host a seminar, but you got to come to Sheffield. So I did. And I don't regret it. These things are very powerful when you decide to move, when you decide to put yourself in a different position. Now, I'm going to bring up the message that this friend sent to me, and I'm going to read his concerns to you so that we can talk more specifically about his situation. Essentially, he's asking me, should I move into a new state? And I feel a little bit emotionally stuck. Could you give me your advice? The person is afraid to pick the wrong city where in the new city he's not sure whether there will be enough business for what he does as a profession. And then he's also wondering about meeting people. He's a single individual and he's wondering whether he wants to meet a new partner and open himself up to a relationship. And last but not least, he says, once you've built up a brick and mortar business, it's incredibly scary to uproot yourself because you have the feeling that you're giving up everything at once. There's a lot to unpack here. First of all, I want to let this person know that we live in such interconnected times that, in my humble opinion, you can do great business from just about anywhere. Listen, I had this mental blockage for a very long time where I told myself, you cannot leave San Antonio because you have your main clients in the greater San Antonio area. And for years and years that prevented me from traveling and from broadening my horizon. Until someday I told myself, listen, just give it a try. See if you can collaborate with someone locally who can stand in for you if there is a need for an in-person intervention. And what you will find is that these things, more often than not, turn out to just be fine. Everything is alright. And now I keep traveling the world and it's okay because I have people, team members, collaborators who, whenever necessary, can stand in for me and go and meet someone in person. So definitely I highly encourage that. I also want you to think about all the specialist knowledge and the knowledge you have as someone who's worked in an industry for years and years, and ask yourself, am I really limited to in-person interactions? I know for a lot of businesses and for a lot of trades and skills, it's really impossible to, let's say for example you're a hairstylist, or you are a juice maker, or you are a baker. It's the idea that we have in our mind is, how am I supposed to sell baked goods or to cut hair or to sell juices to people if I am not in person in a specific location where I can build up my business? But I'm telling you, we live in times where if you have exposure to people and if you have something valuable to share, you can make a lot of money based off of that knowledge. For instance, as an hairstylist, you could curate the best styles and give people instructions on how to achieve that, how to nurture their hair, how to maybe go see a hairstylist as only a few times in a year, things like that. The baker, you could sell your recipes. You could open a franchise where you have bakeries all over the world or the nation. I always think very big, but it's definitely not necessary anymore to be somewhere in person to make money. And yes, sometimes it takes a little bit of creativity to come up with an idea where that is possible. The other thing is, I will tell you that if you move into a region where there is, and this person specifically told me, yeah, I did my research, there seems to be business for me, then trust your research and go there, and you will sometimes fill a void that's been there. You bring your talent, you bring your personality, you bring your vibration to the new place, and you fill that void. And you build up something new. Often people seek for improvement in their life and they're not willing to try something new. So that's very important as well. What else? What else did we have here? Yeah, listen, the thing about meeting new people also for relationships, that can happen to you anywhere in the world. And it will happen to you at the point where you're not looking for it. I know that's an old saying, but it is so true. For those of you who know how Andrea and I met, you know, neither Andrea nor I were looking to find a partner at all. And yet we found each other. Last but not least, when it comes to moving a new location and being nervous about being able to make money in a new business in this location, also think about the fact that we live in the gig economy where each and every one of us can decide to, for instance, drive for DoorDash, drive for Uber, drive for Lyft, even if it is just temporary, right? Just to make ends, to meet ends. What is it called? Make ends meet. And then, of course, I would be remiss to not mention what I am currently teaching people all over the world, and that is how to also invest smartly with crypto and trading. And of course, if that is something you're interested in, then go and find the profile link and take a look at my free course that I actually just put out yesterday. Highly interesting, and it gets you to know whether you want to attempt also maybe being an investor and trader. It is possible to, especially when you are building up a new venture, it is possible to build up what I call several pillars of income. So definitely something worth considering. But bottom line is, I'm always in favor of moving into a new location. You can have your home base somewhere, that's fine. My home base is in San Antonio, but you see me spending a whole lot of time here in Amsterdam. And as I told you, Bali, Sheffield, in less than 10 days I will be in Las Vegas actually for the Bitcoin conference. So hopefully that helps a little bit, and keep those. If anyone has questions for me of that sort, someone who is looking at my life and says, hey, I want to know how Shankar does things, ask me those questions, either in a private message or in a comment, because I love to answer those. It makes it a lot easier for me to talk about things that I know people are truly interested in. Alright, thank you so much, and I'll see you very soon in the future.